podcast. We are excited that you are joining us again tonight. And I would say it's a little bit different for us this time around because we are not in each other's presence. This is going to be the first time, of course, on our 31st episode that we record remotely. So yeah, lots of new experiences for us tonight. That's what happens when a hurricane decides to go through your town. You know, I mean, it's not.
So that's what it is. Okay, I thought it was personal.
It is personal a bit. You know, I took it personally when you didn't want to risk your life to come out here and see, you know, my new joint or invite me over to see your new place. You know?
Well, I'm really excited to see your place. I don't have a functioning arc at the moment to kind of paddle my way over there. It's really bad here in the Philly area. Like we got 9 inches of rain in 2 hours.
Noah Solo over here.
Noah Solo.
Building his arc. Come record a podcast.
Your favorite new old bro host.
By the way, as always, I am joined by my bro host, Jan Solo.
And I'm joined by my bro host, Ben Skywalker.
All right, we got that out of the way. Let's move on with it. Yeah, this is crazy, man. I mean, it's like a torrential downpour. Our bro Dan, I mean, bless him right now. I hope everything's okay, but he's just got water pouring into his basement right now. It's awful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he is he's not alone. Our hearts go out to anybody who's impacted by this crazy storm or has been impacted by Ida up until this point. We're getting a lot of tornadoes and flash floods and crazy things like that. And I think I saw in the news today that over 1 million people are without power right now across the South. 1 million households, I should say. So it's probably way more than 1 million people. So our hearts go out to you guys. May the force be with you all. We're sending you good thoughts and good vibes. And here in the Philly area, we're getting through this storm by podcasting.
Yeah.
And
hopefully our internet doesn't go out on us.
Hopefully it doesn't go out. And we've got a really good lighthearted one for you. So hopefully you're sitting down and listening to this after the storm has passed and after all the craziness is done, and you can kind of catch your breath a little bit.
Yeah, because you might need a little laugh or a little WTF moment. You're like, I didn't know that. Yeah, so we're gonna have fun talking those. Plenty of those. Yeah, I've found a lot. So we're gonna get into that in a second. But dude, I want to know first before we get into that. You just moved. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I mean, it was a tough move because, as you know, my wife has a broken ankle, so she can't do a whole lot. Yep. But she did her best to help out, and I think she did a terrific job. But moving is just all consuming. It just kind of takes up your whole day, and you wake up thinking about it and things like that. And we got it out of the way. Place is great, and now this is a real test. Moving into a new place and then getting hit by a hurricane, you kind of see how good the roof is, and does the sump pump work and things like that. And I'm happy to report that everything is fine. In fact, if we make it through this unscathed, I think my overall confidence in this house is going to be through the roof because it's really bad out there. But I'm excited to come and visit your place because you've got quite the Star Wars room coming along. It looks really, really cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it is coming along, and I'll tell a little bit about it because it's been a month now that we've been here. Can you believe that?
Wow, no.
That since we moved into this place, and yeah, I spent a lot of time on this room to the point where my wife was literally laughing in my face about how obsessive I got with this room. Passionate about this, obsessive, whatever you want to call it. So today, the final touch arrived in the mail, and that was my Ruggable, my Star Wars Ruggable, and it's the one with the TIE fighters on it. It's like mostly gray tones, like black, gray, white, and then it's got little accents of red TIE fighters on it, and the whole pattern is TIE fighters. So it's so cool looking.
Love it.
I've got 2 chairs set up here. One's just waiting for you to sit in and sit side by side, talking Star Wars right in front of the TV. And put whatever episode we decided to put on, and then I got these LED lights underneath that I showed you right before hitting record. All I have to do is tell my Amazon assistant, everyone knows what her name is, I'm not going to say it right now, and say let's podcast, and it turns the lights on to the yellow color of Star Wars and starts to flicker, and then it plays the Star Wars theme, and then it tells us, hey, have a good recording session. So I love it. I'm having way too much fun with this room.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it in person. It looks really, really cool. You put a lot of work into it. Nice job, dude.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll maybe get some pictures out there. Maybe we can update, our pictures on social media, on Facebook, where we've got the original picture of what our studio looked like.
Yep.
Now we got our real studios that we're starting to establish. So
yeah.
It's
Very
work in
cool.
progress. We're excited to share it all with you. How about we get into our first segment, though?
Let's do that. What's it called?
News from across the galaxy.
The delayed one. They thought they were safe. Hey, I got one for you. I got a news item for you.
Hit me with it. Thanks.
Okay. So as we know, we're following a couple of these shows that Disney Plus is developing, and one of them that is probably the furthest along, I guess, at this point is the Andor series, which we talked about, I think, a couple episodes ago. But this week, the talented actor Forrest Whitaker, who portrays Saw Gerrera, was posting pictures on his social media from Wales in the UK, where I think we have one or two listeners.
I think I've heard of that place.
Yeah, it's a cool place. And so up until this point, there's some speculation. Is Saw Gerrera going to be in Andor or is he not? And the fact that he is on site, not too far away from where they're filming, and posting pictures of himself near different attractions and, with the beautiful Welsh landscape behind him, suggests that he's probably not just on vacation. It's probably not a coincidence, and we're probably going to get some Saw Gerrera in Andor.
What an amateur move. Posting pictures on vacation while he's near a place where Star Wars is being recorded. Come on. Like, he's either really trolling with everyone and doing a great job at it, or yeah, he's not hiding it very well that he's recording right now.
Now that would be something if he was just messing with people. That would be impressive.
That would be very impressive. And I guess we just got, maybe about 6 more months until we find out what he was thinking.
Yep. Yeah.
Which I just saw the other day. That's going to have 12 episodes in it.
Yeah.
I remember reading that, but I completely forgot. Like, that's going to be that's awesome.
Yeah, but what I don't know is I'm assuming it's going to be like some of these other Disney Plus shows where you'll get one a week and they're not just going to dump them all on you. Which is just, I love that they draw those out and you get to experience them every week and you get to experience the excitement and speculation between the episodes and stuff. So I'm excited about that.
Well, the question I have is if they were doing 12 episodes, how long are they going to be? Are they all going to be 45 minutes, an hour, or are they going to be on the shorter
I assumed, but I don't have anything to base that off of. I just assumed that they'd be like hour-long episodes.
That's kind of what I assumed too. But one of the things I really liked about The Mandalorian was that it never really held itself to a certain time constraint. And like
true
back in TV days, do we all remember those when we had cable? A weird long time ago. Not really. It was like 3 years ago for me.
And some people still got it.
Yeah, some people still have it, right? But you were constrained to time because it's like you have 20 minutes, 10 minutes of that is going to be commercial. So 30 minutes in total. And then you got to get off the air. We got to get to the next show. Like that was the name of the game. You don't have to worry about that anymore. So I like that they've got the freedom to tell the story in whatever time they think is right to tell it. So, but anyway, I guess we will find out about it. That is cool. Maybe we'll get some Saw Gerrera. Back to the speculation.
Yeah, which would be really cool. Yeah.
I always like this character. He appears in so much of the cartoons. Like it just makes sense that he comes back in live action, and that's all play him.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I like him in the other media too, like Jedi Fallen Order, things like that. So
yeah, that's
good stuff.
That's true. Sometimes forget that he's there. Video games, animated, live action. Where hasn't he been?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So other news. So I'd say the other piece of smaller news before we get to the bigger one was that the wait is over. We finally have an update on the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga game.
Oh man,
it was at, I believe, GameCon is the name of it this past week, and they decided to tease a new trailer for it. And in teasing the trailer at the very end, they gave us an update on when the game would likely be released. I'm saying likely because we've just been given the bait and switch all the time for the last few months. It is scheduled to come out spring 2022. So sorry, we still have to wait about 6 more months and get through the grueling months of winter without playing a new Star Wars or Lego game, even depending on what's attracting you to that one. So I'm excited to see that they're back on track, that they finally gave us an update, and some eagle-eyed viewers decided to go out there and look at the footage from the old trailer, comparing it to the new trailer, and there's definitely some differences.
Jeez, people.
Come on, internet. You never disappoint. They decided to look at the 2 different versions and showed like they've definitely made some updates and the quality has improved. So I think there is speculation or belief that the reason for all of these delays is it just wasn't up to par. They wanted to spend a little bit more time polishing it, making it better. The game, it looks like it's a pretty in-depth game. So, and honestly, you got to get this one right. This is your only chance to create a definitive Star Wars game that's all, in universe. Get it right. I'm totally fine with this. I've spoken too much about this. React to it, please.
No, I think it's a good thing they delayed it. There's that classic line where if you release a bad game, that game is bad forever.
Yep.
But if you delay a bad game, you got a chance to make it good if you use that time right.
Yes.
So they might be doing that. They might pull off a really high quality game because they gave themselves a bunch of time to continue to work on it. And I hope that's the case, because you're right. They got to get it right. And I guess we'll find out in the spring.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. And in the meantime, maybe go back and play the Force Awakens Lego game if you really need something to.
That's a good one.
That was a very good one. I enjoyed that quite a bit. My wife was playing that again the other night. So
nice.
I mean, I think I might go back and play it. That's a fun one.
It's a really good one.
When I'm not playing Rocket League or something.
Which I know you love.
I love that game. It's the weirdest thing ever, but I love that game.
There's nothing weird about it. It's awesome.
Every time I show it to people, though, they're like, "You're playing soccer with cars, and they fly."
What's not to get?
I mean, what's not to love about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's an awesome game, and a lot of universities across the country that have esports teams play that competitively, and so you can go on Twitch and watch some really, really just high caliber gaming on that. It's an entertaining one to watch, but that's one where I feel like the gulf that separates a casual player from a really good player is just massive. Like,
oh yeah, like I'm. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bad at it. I'm actually scarily good at it.
You're exceptionally good.
Like, I've gotten better. I mean, I love playing this game. I played a lot of times, but I already know and can tell anybody, like, just because I don't game as much as some people, or like figure out all the, like, I don't spend as much time figuring out how I can be the best at a video game. This is not how I think and operate. There are people that just wipe my face on the floor with that.
Oh my gosh,
sometimes.
yeah.
So
yeah,
as is the case with what's it called, Battlefront 2.
Yep. And any competitive shooting game or racing game or things like that, there's just people who devote their lives to it, or at least that's what I tell myself,
to make them feel better.
Yeah, that's the other rule. The other video gaming thing that I always think about is, if they're not as good as you, they're a noob, and if they're better than you, they have no life. And
yeah.
So you're in a perfect spot.
Every gamer out there is probably saying right now, you guys just suck at video games. That's all it is.
Yes, and that's fine.
Passing it on to us and saying it's because we play all the time. We're just better than you. Anyway, that one will.
What else you got?
The last one. Hey, the Mandalorian Gallery decided to come out with a new episode and tell us how episode 8 of season 2 of the Mandalorian was made. Now, everyone rewind the clock a little bit to, gosh, was that like 9 months ago? That was still 2020 when that came out.
Yeah, that was the end of 2020. Yep, we've come a long way.
9 months later, and they finally decided, we'll tell you how we made this episode. And I laugh because, like, we already got the making of season 2. Like, this episode was not about the last episode. It was simply about how they shocked the world with the return of Luke Skywalker. And nothing more. It was like 45 minutes of just that. And I'm not complaining. It was great.
And they did shock the world. We've had 9 months to digest it, and so I think it's kind of forgotten. We've moved on a little bit, but there were people who cried when that episode aired and recorded their reaction videos and got genuinely, really deeply emotional. And some people kind of speculate. I think a couple people I know sort of got that right, but for the most part, the world was surprised. They pulled it off.
Well, I think what we all got right, and you and I got this right, was that it makes sense for them. The whole entire purpose of season 2, we knew, was to figure out where Grogu came from. He was still the child when that started. We didn't know his name. Figure out where he came from and pass him along to a Jedi. Like, figure out where his people are. And so we all speculated, who would that Jedi be? And so we said maybe it's Ezra Bridger, but we know that there's more story to be told there. There's speculation maybe it was Cal Kestis, who was in Jedi Fallen Order. But then people were like, but is that the way to introduce a video game character into live action? Not so sure. So like you and then everyone said Ahsoka, and then when it wasn't her, it was just like, well then who is it? And Luke was really the only one left, but no one wanted to believe it.
Yeah, I think one of the conversations we had was that it would make sense, but they probably would never do it.
We just didn't think they could.
Didn't think they could do it. So
even though we all saw Tarkin get recreated and all that stuff.
Yep. But so yeah, I think it's a good topic. I would have loved to have seen them dive into a million other things too. Yeah. But I get it.
I do. But anyway, it was a great episode. It was great to see how they created it. I mean, a few of the things that I took away was, first of all, the way that they teased it. So they obviously didn't put in the script that Luke was the one that had come back. They put Plo Koon in there, who is Dave Filoni's favorite Jedi. So it was
one of my favorites too. I bet a lot of people read that and they were just like, "Yes, Plo's in it."
How? I thought he died. Because I think we literally have a scene where he dies. So how does that happen?
And there's probably a couple people on set, and it's like, you find out it's Luke Skywalker, and there's probably a couple people who are like, hey, what about Plo?
That would be cool.
Not impressed.
Need more. Yeah, they teased that one pretty well, I think. And but at the same time, I think it was just cool because it threw everybody off. It was plausible. People could believe that because everyone knew that Dave Filoni's favorite character was Plo Koon.
Yeah.
So it was a good bait and switch, like that phrase.
Yeah. A red herring.
Red herring is the word. That's a better word, right? Thank you. Mm-hmm. What else was good about it? Dave Filoni was wearing a Patagonia Mandalorian coat that I think everybody's gonna want now.
How do we get that?
I don't know. I want it though. It looked.
I don't think we do get it, unfortunately.
Probably not, but I would like it. Make it yourself.
I still want that, and I want that, and I still want the parkas that the cast got when they were filming in Norway during The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
the Hoth scenes.
Yes.
That there's a couple. There's got to be a couple of those floating out there in the world, and if you haven't seen them, Google them. They're really, really cool.
Yeah, I would like one of those too, even though I would not like a reason to go to Norway. It just seems too cold for me.
it can be. But yeah, maybe we'll go in the summer when the Star Bros do their world tour.
There we go.
Post-pandemic.
There we go. The other thing I thought was really cool was they showed the contraption that they were calling the egg, which was like this big lighting chamber. And they were showing how they use that to digitize Mark Hamill. And that was the other thing, is like they basically recreated Mark Hamill younger with all these different methods, using deepfake, using this egg thing, and it was all in an effort to just see which one came out best. And I thought that was really cool. Like that just showed how much they were willing to invest in. Like I imagine that none of those were cheap.
Oh my gosh!
And they then did all three of them instead. So that was pretty cool. But anyway, make sure you go check it out. It was a great episode. Really cool I love seeing the behind the scenes stuff. So.
Me too. And I've got a bunch of behind the scenes facts as we get into the main segment of the show.
Oh, you just like taking my segues lately. That was perfect. I did that for a reason, and you took the bait.
Served it up. Yeah. Served it up. Yep.
That's the third time I said the word bait on this episode. I need to get a new word. So with that, let us go into segment 2 of all of our episodes. And that, what do we call that, Jan?
More to the story.
Lightning struck as you said that.
Did it?
Oh, that was cool.
Wow. Well, then I won't say it again.
No, do. I want to see more lightning. That was cool.
Oh, I can hear the thunder rumbling. Oh my goodness.
Luckily I can't, which means our listeners probably can't, which means we can move on and enjoy some more conversation.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So this is how this is going to work. Jan and I went out to the interwebs. And
I've heard of it.
Yep. Found some interesting factoids about Star Wars that we found interesting, weird, but true, and wanted to share those with each other. And we're going to do this Whose Line Is It Anyway style, where we'll go back and forth and share what we found. And if I did not know it, or if I'm surprised by it, then Jan gets a point. If I surprise Jan, then I get a point. And the points are made up, they don't matter, but we'll figure out something to do to make sure it all matters in the end at the same time. So that is how this would work.
I also reserve the right to assign arbitrary weird point values to things based on how I react to them. So something could get 2 points and then something else could get 11,631 points.
Obligatory Good Place reference coming up. That episode when they're in Canada and at the pool playing pool, and it was like Jacksonville style pool. Do you remember this?
Yes.
They're like,
there we go. We got our Good Place reference in already.
You just throw a ball into whatever pocket you want, and then assign yourself whatever points. And she just like 10 million points or something for like just sliding it in. Love it. Anyway, I've just told you that whole episode now, and people are like tuning out. So.
So come back.
So come on back,
dear people.
Let us get into these fun little factoids as more lightning strikes in the background. That's so cool.
Yeah. It's kind of sneaking up behind me here, but yeah, hit me with something. Don't give me your very best one yet, but let's get warmed up a little bit. Hit me with something that might surprise me.
Honestly, none of these I would say are my very best ones. I don't have them in that kind of order, so I will just literally go down the list. And I will say the first big set that I am going to pull from came from a YouTube video that I found that went through like 20 different ones, and I pulled out the most interesting ones from that I found the most interesting. So
excellent.
Let me start on a doozy. You ready for this?
Okay.
At the beginning of Star Wars, when we see the Tantive 4 flying across the screen, inside the model ship that they put together, there is a picture of a Playboy model in the cockpit.
Can you see any bit of that?
No.
No, because it's not. Yeah, okay. So somebody just slid that in there?
It was a prank, apparently, that that they were playing. I don't know. The people who made the model were playing on each other, and they decided to just slip that in there and see if anyone would notice. And you literally can't see it, but it's there, apparently. Apparently, I will say. I have not confirmed this, but.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because I've got a bunch where it is allegedly or based on just legend from the people who worked on the film. So there's some of these things are unsubstantiated, I guess, but that's a good one. I will give you a 7.3 points for that.
How am I going to keep track of this? I was just going to do tally marks.
No, it's not going to cut it.
All right, 7.3. That's pretty cool. And so, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how surprised are you? And you are at 7.3, maybe, is what we'll.
Yeah, I'm not. I guess I'm not that surprised, because I know that there's all kinds of shenanigans that happen on a movie set. But
yeah,
I think with some of these, like a lot of the ones I picked up, I'm just like, wow, I never heard that. Like I was more surprised that it wasn't out there and discussed a bit more.
That's kind of what I thought. It was like, oh, it feels like I should have known this. But
yes,
and
I got a few of those.
Yeah. All right. Give me one then.
Okay. This one has to do with one of our favorite Jedi Masters, Yoda.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
We like Plo as well. This one has to do with Yoda, and I guess I never noticed this, but I thought about it, and I'm certainly not disputing it, but I need to go and look it up. Depending on which movie you're watching, Yoda has a different number of toes.
Oh, I think I read about this. Yeah.
Yes. So in The Phantom Menace, for example, he's got 3 toes, but in Revenge of the Sith, he has 4 toes. So I'm not sure what happened to him between those stories, but he grew some extra toes.
Toes. And at that age, that's impressive.
Yeah. And
900 years old, you're great.
And in the original trilogy, he also has 4 toes. So it's the Phantom Menace that's the outlier, where they gave him 3 toes.
Okay, so he at least kept the toes after he got them.
He kept them after he got them, but yeah, it's kind of a wild ride for our buddy Yoda.
You can still grow toes. I mean, it's like I'm having my kids go through teething, and I'm just like, oh, what would that be like to just randomly grow an extra toe? It seems like it'd be painful.
Don't let your dreams be dreams, says Shia LaBeouf.
Where did that come from?
If you aspire to growing more toes, don't put limits on yourself. Just be like Yoda.
How do you even know a quote by Shia LaBeouf?
That's a meme. You've never seen that video?
No.
It's him screaming at the camera, "Don't let your dreams be dreams."
Oh yeah,
Shia the beef.
The beef. You were on the interwebs way more than I am, I think.
That's where they keep the memes. That's where I got to go to get them.
The memes.
The memes.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna give you a 7.35 for that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay,
I think that was a good one. No, my question.
That's generous.
You know how they digitally remade that lightning is getting closer, man. You know how they digitally remade Yoda in the Phantom Menace at some point? I think if you go on to Disney Plus now, he's digital, even though he was a puppet when they shot it. When they came out, so maybe this is a fun fact. When they came out with the Phantom Menace, he was a puppet, right?
Yes.
When they came out with the 3D version of the Phantom Menace in, what was that, 2010, 11, something, he had been digitized at that point.
Yep.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Cool.
But
I've bonus.
I've seen, definitely a bonus. I've seen both. I mean, I saw Phantom Menace in the theater, and then I saw obviously the updated version. So on some level, I must have been aware of that. Just like the toes, like I looked at it, but maybe I wasn't really comprehending.
Does that get me points?
Yeah, it actually gets you 81 points.
Oh my gosh, where are these points coming from?
You're starting to run away with it.
Are these points increasing exponentially? Almost.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how things continue.
That is very close to exponential, just so you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, your turn then, since that was my one.
Okay. You may know this one. I don't think I knew this one. But David Prowse, who was the guy inside the Darth Vader costume, the big 6-foot+ dude.
Sorry.
Why is that funny?
No, now here's our Arrested Development reference for the day. There's a whole episode about Tobias, and he writes a book. Is it him that writes a book about, and it's called like The Man Inside Me or something like that?
Come on.
I thought of that. That was it.
Got it. Well, David Prowse was, because he's passed on now, right?
Yes,
he's no longer with us.
The late, yes.
Yeah, the late David Prowse was banned from all Star Wars events.
Yep, I did read about that one. That's
crazy. Reason being, apparently George Lucas found him annoying. And I think some of it stems back to the fact that David was surprised by two things.
Yeah, he was a bit bitter.
One, he's a little bit salty. One, the voice overdub. So James Earl Jones, the booming voice that we all know as Darth Vader, was not originally the voice that he expected. He thought his own voice was going to be up on the screen. It wasn't. And then also when his mask is taken off, and so David Prowse wanted to be the guy whose face you saw on the screen, and he was not. They picked another actor. So he was salty, and George Lucas said, "I don't care. You're not allowed to come to my party."
That's exactly how that went down.
Yes.
Well, that's apparently all it takes if you want to get banned from anything. Get on George Lucas's, what do you call that? Naughty list or no?
Yeah, but like he couldn't go to Celebration. He couldn't go to anything.
Yeah.
Like he had to. It was like a restraining order. He had to stay a mile away from George Lucas at all times, I guess.
or any Star Wars gatherings of any sort. That one's too bad. I'm gonna give that one a 2.
Okay.
0.1.
Oh, okay. I feel better about that.
Okay. Don't worry, you might make some more on the back end.
Okay, let's see what we can do. All right, what do you got for me, man?
The bones of the Krayt Dragon in The New Hope were left behind. Hi, Chewbacca. I miss ya. They were left behind in the desert after they filmed.
Really? They just moved on? And
they just left them there.
Wow.
And at some point, someone came and actually excavated one of the bones.
Some like took it away. Movie set archaeologist just dug them. Dr. Afra came and got them.
They were probably like, I want to see where this thing was filmed, and they're like, I wonder if the Krayt Dragon was there. Who knows what they thought, but they were just like, yeah, let's just leave this behind.
That, by the way, that's how stories start about mythical creatures living out in the desert.
Fast forward like 300 years, and they'll forget. All right, we're back. I am not sure what happened there, but I think the storm decided to, play a little fast one on us and pull the wool over our eyes. But we are back. What were we talking about, Jan?
We were talking about the crate dragon and how they left the crate dragon. And I mentioned how I thought that that's how crazy rumors about mythical beings or creatures get started. Somebody finds something that they can't explain. And it reminded me of a good story that I heard in a podcast once where a dude was talking about how way back in the day, in like the 1970s, he was hitchhiking across the American West. And this was a guy who had like a cool beard and like long hair and whatever. And there was one night where he couldn't get a ride and he was hitchhiking through the forest in California and he noticed that something was following him. And
that's not spooky at all.
Yep. And he noticed that a coyote was following him and decided to, acting on instinct, decided to make himself real big and stand up tall and put his arms up and just yell at the coyote just to kind of scare it off. And just when he did, a car drove by and the car sped up. And so he camped out that night, and the next morning he got to town and he went to eat at a diner, and everybody was talking about how somebody saw Bigfoot in the woods the night before.
That's amazing.
And so that, I think, is probably what people did with the crate dragon bones. They probably just, showed them off, and the next day at the diner, people were like, I don't know what it is, but it's out there.
Yeah. And they're like, you know what? It's either got to be something from this world or not from this galaxy.
Right.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. I think, by the way, they figured out it was from Star Wars and figured out that it was not a real bone and kept it as a souvenir.
Yeah, probably. And what a cool souvenir to have.
Yep, exactly. How many points do I get for that?
You get, because basically I feel like lightning tried to strike us during the middle of that story, and that's pretty epic. So 900 points.
900. Wow, that's pretty good. Cool. I like it. All right, your turn.
Okay. Do you recall in The Last Jedi, there's a scene where Princess Leia, I guess at that point, General Leia, slaps Oscar Isaac's character, Poe Dameron. Do you know where this one's going?
Yep, I do, because this is one of mine.
Is it? Okay. Well, we knew that there was going to be some overlap.
You get points for bringing it up first, though.
Okay, cool. I'm curious to hear what number you have, because, in any movie you have a whole bunch of takes and the director says, hey, try it this way, try it that way. And apparently she was actually slapping him.
Oh, and you got to make it real.
You got to make it real. The number that I saw was over 40 times.
That's what I saw, 40. Yeah.
Carrie Fisher slapped poor Oscar Isaac across the face.
Which everyone's probably thinking about poor Poe Dameron, poor Oscar Isaac. How about poor Carrie Fisher, like slapping? Like, your hand would hurt after a while too.
Your hand would hurt, and I think she's a really good sport, but nobody wants to hit anybody 40 times. I don't think.
I think so. Yeah, exactly. What is that? She probably felt really guilty. Like, I'm so sorry, I have to do this again. But I have to really be mad at you right now.
Yep. But they're good sports, and it sounds like he remembers it well and gets a kick out of telling that story. So not a bad thing.
I like it. I am going to give you 7/8.
7/8 of 1 point?
I don't know. I wanted to use a fraction. So I'm going to give you 7/8.
Okay. I like it.
I like it too. All right. Next one. And
I don't like it.
Don't worry. You've got a big payday coming soon.
Okay. All right.
Dennis Lawson. He's the actor that plays Wedge Antilles, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know that he has... Yeah, you know he has a nephew that plays in Star Wars too?
I do.
Yeah.
But they're not related in the film.
They're not related in the film. No. But in real life they are. Yeah. I mean, I'm doing this one. It's a bit of a gimme. I know most people know this one. Ewan McGregor, right? That's his nephew. So I always just found that really interesting, though, that I think he would tell stories about like going to the movie theater and watching his uncle play in a movie and seeing it was Star Wars. And then one day he becomes the actor playing in Star Wars too. Like that's pretty cool.
That's really cool. But one of the things that I don't know is, like, are those guys close? Did Ewan grow up being around him and enjoying his company and kind of learning about acting from him? Like, I don't know anything about that.
Maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah, because that would be really cool. What a cool story to tell. But
that he inspired him or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, what do I get?
You get 11 T points. That's a made up number.
T points? What's a T point?
11 T.
11 T.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna write 11 because I don't know how to write 11 T.
Okay. That's like 12 teen, or one of those other made up numbers.
11 teen. I like that. Okay.
Okay, here's one for you. Just rolling right along. Do you know where the character of Boba Fett was first revealed to the general public?
Was it an action figure or something like that?
It was actually at the San Anselmo County Fair in California in 1978. So in that county, specific. They shared a zip code where the county was happening, where the county fair, was happening. It was actually a parade. Shared a zip code with the original Lucasfilm offices. And ahead of the Empire Strikes Back coming out, they wanted to premiere a few of the villains that were going to be in the upcoming movie. And they threw some guy in a Boba Fett costume, and he walked in the parade and waved at people. And according to the Lucasfilm people who were there, nobody cared.
Nobody?
People were like, "Oh, okay,
weird. Why?
Where can I get a fried Twinkie?
Fried Twinkie, fried Oreo, chocolate with bacon,
all that good stuff." Right? People don't necessarily go to the county fairs for the science fiction sneak previews that they can get.
No,
they go for the food that will kill you.
They go for the gluttony.
So we're in Pennsylvania, and I grew up going to the Pennsylvania Farm Show, which takes place in Harrisburg in a big arena that is designed for rodeos and things like that. And one of the things that was a big competition there was butter sculptures, and there would be literally like 400 or 500 pounds of butter sculpted into an ET picking up a phone or a horse or something like that. People go for that. People don't go for the Star Wars stuff.
To each their own. But yuck. I don't know. I can barely stand the look of butter. Just to imagine like that much butter.
Yep.
Eesh. Anyway, yuck. I like that one. No, I will give you 10,000.
What?
And 320 points.
Okay. Thank you.
Told you a big payday was coming.
I needed it. Thank you.
Well, let's keep on Boba Fett for a second.
Oh, yeah, please.
Jeremy Bulloch, who is the actor that plays Boba Fett, did you know that he got the job right on the spot without even auditioning?
Really?
All he did
I did not.
He put the costume on, and it fit him perfectly. So they're like, "You're hired."
What? So it's like a Cinderella moment, like the slipper fit, and they were like, "It's you."
Yeah, they're like,
"Well, why would we look for somebody else?
We're gonna just put you in this thing." And I don't know if they expected. Actually, no, I know this. They didn't expect Boba Fett to be as popular as he ended up being.
No. How could they? Yeah,
they originally intended him to be the villain of Return of the Jedi, but he. He ended up just being in the way when they decided that Darth Vader should have been it. So they kind of got rid of him really fast and not thinking very much that people would just fall in love with him.
Yeah.
So it was just, I don't think they thought too much about it. Not obviously until later on when they realized, oh, he's very popular. We need to explain his backstory. And that's when they went out and got Tamara Morrison. Right. But yeah, Jeremy Bulloch, he just got the job.
Yeah. Love
just
it.
Like that. Yeah.
Meant to be, I guess.
I guess so.
So I love myself some Boba Fett facts. So you're going to get 961.3 points for that.
900. I what?
Yes. 961.3.
Point 3. Okay, good.
Yes.
I didn't want to miss that decimal. It's going to be
it was
maker.
It was 0.2999. I thought I just round
up. That's fair. Your turn.
Okay, here's I like the ones that blend the Star Wars universe with reality, and this is a story about how Star Wars almost started an actual war. So while they were filming A New Hope in Tunisia, there were significant political tensions between Tunisia and Libya, which are North African countries that border one another.
Mm-hmm.
Muammar Gaddafi was the dictator in power in Libya, and he basically confronted, through diplomacy and through his people, Tunisia, threatening retaliation if they did not move a military vehicle off of the border. The military vehicle, do you know what it was?
No, or was it like the sandcrawler?
It was a Jawa sandcrawler.
I was just like thinking of, like the only vehicle in the desert that would have been intimidating was that.
Yeah, and so they made the assumption that it was a military vehicle of some kind, and they put it right on the border, and so they viewed that as an aggressive act, and they basically said like, hey, we're going to retaliate unless you move that. And they did. And so Lucasfilm got word that, hey, you got to get rid of that thing. And they, I guess, moved it further away from the border, but almost started a war.
That's awesome. I mean, glad it didn't. But
I'm glad it didn't too.
Quite the story of George Lucas's career. Be like, I created one of the most successful movies of all time, and I started a war.
Yep. And can you imagine, like, I mean, the domino effect of that, of like, you got to get out of the country, and then the film is delayed, and maybe Star Wars doesn't end up being Star Wars if they get caught in the crossfire of a literal war.
It just becomes wars.
Yeah, it just becomes wars.
It's not Star Wars anymore. It's like, these are wars in our actual galaxy, so we'll just call it wars.
It's not as fun anymore.
I am going to give you 333 points.
Okay.
And I'm going to give myself an additional 3 points for getting the sandcrawler right.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's totally fair.
I gave myself points. That's that. Anyway, let's move on to this one. How about... did you know that the shots of R2, you remember when he's swimming around the swamps of Dagobah?
Yeah.
Very, very funny scene, played for laughs, right? He's making some funny noises and stuff like that. That was not shot in a Hollywood studio. That was shot in George Lucas's unfinished swimming pool.
I did know that. Yes. I've seen pictures of that. Is that from one of your books, maybe?
I saw it in the YouTube video.
Okay.
No, but I bet it's in there too. And George Lucas actually operated the camera for that scene.
Cool.
So he was the cameraman as well as the director.
Very cool.
No, he wasn't the director of that one, right? No, he wasn't. So
he was not.
Yeah. So you already knew that one. So points to Jan. I'll give you 20 points.
And I'll give you 16 points.
That's fair.
Because it was a story well told.
I appreciate that. Your turn.
All right, here's one for you. I didn't know this, and this is a behind the scenes thing that kind of blends into the films itself. But so take yourself back to 1979. They are filming Empire.
By the way, I wasn't born yet.
Yep, me neither. They're filming Empire, and Carrie Fisher has rented a house from British comedian Eric Idle. And Eric Idle is one of the guys who was in Monty Python.
Okay.
And one night, Eric Idle comes back from filming a movie, also in Tunisia, oddly enough. So they had filmed A New Hope in Tunisia, and come back, and now Eric Idle is filming a movie in Tunisia. And he comes back, and he visits Carrie Fisher at the house in London. And says like, hey, a bunch of cool folks are around tonight. Let's throw a party. And so he invites over the Rolling Stones. And so it's the Rolling Stones. Apparently Carrie Fisher calls Han Solo, and Harrison Ford comes over, and Monty Python and a bunch of other celebrities. And they decide to hang out and party all night. And
of course, when you're with the Rolling Stones, might as well, right?
When you're with the Stones and a bunch of movie stars and comedians and stuff, they're probably having a great time.
Yeah.
But they had an early call the next day. And the next morning at like 5 a.m., they had to be there to film the scene on Cloud City where they meet Lando Calrissian for the first time.
Oh, gosh.
So when you watch that
they
scene,
hung over and really tired?
They just hadn't even slept yet. They said they stayed up all night and went directly to the set. So when you look at the actors' faces, know that like just a couple hours before that, they were partying with the Rolling Stones and Monty Python, and they had not slept a wink that night. And apparently they had not met Billy D. Williams in person before. So stayed up all night partying and, filmed that scene. And it's an iconic set of scenes, like all the stuff that goes down on Bespin. So
I'm going to have to watch those scenes again now and just like see like how attentive are they? Because I'll tell you, when I have gotten very little sleep, I'm a wreck. An absolute wreck.
I'm a mess. And the only thing I can think of is like, wasn't Carrie Fisher like 20 years old at the time?
Yeah, good point.
So she's a little bit young to be doing all that stuff, but she's also, young enough to probably be able to stay up all night and function the next day. That as the years go by,
one of the only ones who could, though.
Probably one, because back then the Rolling Stones were like 70 years old, and
no, they weren't. Really?
No, I think they're in. I think they're in their 70s.
You're just really in the making numbers up mood right now, is what you are.
Yes, I am. But here's a true story. My parents took me to see the Rolling Stones in the mid 90s because they said they're not going to be around much longer. You should see them. And they were on tour this year.
I was saying, like, they're still around.
Yep. 25 plus years later. But yeah, awesome. So that was a cool one. I hadn't heard that. And I can only imagine some of the conversations or shenanigans that went down in that London house in 1979.
I just hope that some kind of cosplaying was involved. They were like stealing wardrobe and stuff. And like, one of the band members was dressed up as let's just say dressed up as Yoda. I don't know. Like
that must have been a blast.
Or dressed up as Princess Leia or something would be great.
Yep. I'm sure it was a really good time.
All right. I had a blast with that one. So I'm going to give you our first, let's say 7-digit number. I'm going to give you 3 million points.
3 million?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
3,000,002.
Wow. I'd like to thank Carrie Fisher for writing down the story.
I just wrote it down. It just took me a while to write it. Thank you for your patience. All right. How about this one? So this one's really interesting. Mm-hmm. So Yoda wasn't originally supposed to be in Return of the Jedi.
Uh-huh.
Go on. Was actually added later on because George had a conversation with a child psychologist and said that children wouldn't believe that Darth Vader was actually Luke's father unless someone else had confirmed it.
What? I'd never heard this.
So that to make sure that children didn't assume that Vader was lying, they added someone who actually knew that it was fact to make it more believable.
Wow.
And if you think about it, that actually works because like I think I walk away from him saying I'm your father and think like there's so many different motives that could have led him to say that.
Right.
He could have just been trying to manipulate him.
Right.
And kids are pretty good at picking up on some of that stuff. So yeah, it's possible. So to have Yoda be the one that confirmed it and knowing that he's all wise and that he's been around for 900 years, all that stuff, like it makes sense. Like as soon as he says it, you're like, oh wow, this is real.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting to hear that perspective and to hear that, I was thinking too, it's a good thing George listened to him.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Would children have loved it as much?
Yeah, it works really well, but I never thought about that. Huh. Fascinating.
Yeah. So anyway, thought that was really cool. How many points do I get for that?
You get 22,221.
I wrote that down. I'm holding you to it.
Okay, well done.
All right, your turn, sir.
All right, this is a short one. All right, in A Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan both use communicators.
I got.
Do you know this one?
Yeah, I got this one too.
So the communicators were not designed from scratch by some of the special effects people at Lucasfilm. They were actually made from a cast of a Gillette Ladies Sensor XL razor.
Yep.
These are razors that, in 1999, 2000, you could go through any grocery store and pick up off the shelf. And just sort of an ordinary everyday object that looked a little bit spacey. So they spray painted it silver and talked into it and pretended it was a communicator.
And then they went home and shaved with it.
Yep.
It's funny though, because I also picked that one up and thought it was hilarious and turned on Phantom Menace so that I could see.
Okay, cool.
Like, I have to see this for myself. And sure enough, I looked at it, I paused it on the scene, like, yeah, that is absolutely the shape of a razor.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that they go home and use it, because like now, like the Internet of Things is a big thing, right?
Yes.
It's like my washer and my toaster are both, Wi-Fi enabled, and they can send me a message or whatever. So that's not so science fiction anymore. Like I will call you on my Gillette razor when I'm done shaving. Like that's not that crazy an idea.
I'm going to turn my razor on with my voice.
And then I'm going to
just can't do it anymore.
I'm going to get my Instagram feed on my razor while I'm shaving.
Even though I won't be able to see it. That's crazy.
I wonder if they had any awareness of that. I wonder if like Ewan McGregor was like, this is a shaver. He wouldn't say it like that. He wouldn't say it like Randy.
No,
but
like I don't think he calls it a shaver.
What did they call shavers in Scotland?
A razor.
A razor. That's exotic. Interesting.
I call it here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So
but you're very hip and global and cosmopolitan.
Why, thank you. That's what I was going for, was cosmopolitan. I'm glad you picked up on that.
All right, hit me with some points, and then hit me with your next fun fact.
I like that one so much, I gave it 1 point.
Yes. 1.0, a full one?
Just a full one. You don't get any decimals. Stop.
Okay.
Stop getting
stop begging
over there. Getting greedy. I gave you 3 million points last round. Come on.
You did. That was thank you for that. I'm still really excited about that.
Still reeling from it. All right. How about this one? So the Twi'lek that Jabba kills in Return of the Jedi. You know her?
Yes.
Remember her? But
not personally, but yeah.
He I guess I phrased that wrong. But Jabba. That's why Jabba didn't really kill her. Anyway, I don't need to explain this to you. You've seen the movies. So when they reshot the whole extended song scene, remember where they did all the different effects, and we got a real big close up on Sice Noodle's mouth and all that kind of stuff. Did you know that they actually brought back the original actress for that scene to do the dancing and stuff?
No, wow.
Yeah, they brought her back, and you'd think like most people age not as well. Apparently, she was more fit when they asked her to come back than she was when they originally cast her.
I was going to say, because how many decades pass in between those, and I never picked up on.
It's not that much. It was just a decade, I thought.
Well, a decade, yeah. So a decade, but like I never noticed the difference, honestly. Yeah. I just thought that they found somebody who looked just like her.
That's what I would have thought too. But I was, okay, that's interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. So
very cool.
That's a fun fact.
I'll give you 87 points for that one.
Random. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Your turn.
Okay. Irvin Kershner.
Heard him.
He had this idea that he brought to the special effects folks when they were working on Empire. When they were designing Yoda, and he had this idea that he wanted Yoda's eyes to be based on a real person's eyes.
Fair.
And he did not have a real person picked out, but he had a category of persons, and he said, I want you to find a really smart, famous scientist and copy their eyes and give that person's eyes to Yoda.
Okay.
So Yoda's eyes in Empire Strikes Back are based on photographs of Albert Einstein's eyes.
That's where I knew him from.
You did?
Just looking at those eyes, I'm like, I know you from somewhere, don't I? That is kind of random. I did not know that.
Yeah, well, the eyes, I think, in Empire especially, I feel like, I guess all the movies, but in Empire, like, you notice, like, they feel very human.
Yeah.
He looks very not human, but his eyes especially are very human. And that was because at the direction of Irvin Kershner, he said, go out and give him human eyes. And I don't have any more on that. I don't know if it's because he wanted him to, portray that wisdom, that intelligence, that experience, and all that stuff, or what. But yeah, I'd never heard that until we started researching this episode.
Interesting. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, and I don't know why. Actually, no, I do. I know why, but that is interesting.
Why you laugh?
My wife will love this when she hears it. So there's you ever play The Sims?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she really likes playing The Sims, and she had found one of those memes once that said, you know how sometimes like the animation, especially like in the past, was like subpar in some instances. Like,
yes,
it just didn't look like they tried that hard. There was a meme that they found of like one of the guys that was like just contorted, and like
yes,
arms bent backwards. But his eyes, it said his eyes say I love you, but his what was it? Oh, his hands say hospital. I don't know why I was thinking that as you were telling that story, because you're talking about eyes. Anyway, let's move on. I will give you 5,000 points.
Wow, thank you. Jackpot.
I gave you 3 million. 5,000 is nothing compared to that.
That's fair. What do you got for me, sir?
Okay. So, the scene where they do the pod racing, right? Mos Espa Arena.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, they were still using models to create a lot of the effects in there, which is really cool. I think that at that time, they obviously were going very heavy on the visual effects, but the fact that they were like, there needs to be some things that just feel more real. That was a model that they had built, and they had to use 500,000 Q-tips and individually paint them to make the fans in the stands.
What? That is amazing.
And then they used a fan to blow on them and make them ripple, so that it looked like there were fans in the stand. And then the close-up shots are fans from a 49ers game.
No way.
Yes.
Apparently.
Apparently.
That's crazy. Yeah. I'd never heard any of that.
Thought that was pretty cool. 500,000 Q-tips. I would go crazy after 2.
Yeah, and that's like I really like practical effects, and they made a ton of miniatures for the prequels, and they clearly put a lot of love into them. If somebody is working with 500,000 Q-tips,
500,000.
I'm going to give you 500,000 points for that. So you should have said it was 1,000,000 Q-tips.
I should have. Dang it! What was I thinking? What's 500,000?
500,000.
You just didn't even answer me.
It's like.
Like, I'm not taking you seriously anymore, Ben. Oh man, your turn.
All right, here's an interesting one that's sort of like a behind the scenes business thing. So because of the opening crawl in A New Hope, George Lucas was forced to resign from the Directors Guild and had to pay a fine.
I saw that one too.
And the reason was that the guild had all these different standards and rules for how to put together and package a film. And one of their things was a movie has to begin with the credits. That was their rule. You couldn't be in the Directors Guild unless you followed that and a bunch of other stupid rules. But I've noticed, like, whenever you go to watch an old like black and white Christmas movie or something, that's how they start. It's 2 minutes of who is the second AD and the best boy and the third producer and whatever, and you're just like, who cares? What's this movie about? Get to the movie. It doesn't make any sense. And so he totally threw that out. And they said, you can make whatever movie you want, George, but you can't be in our club anymore if you don't do that. And they threw him out and you had to pay him some cash. Yep.
Yeah, and the fact that, like, in doing so, you made them pay a fine to do that. Like, really? Did lives die? Did people die because of that? Were their livelihoods at stake?
It seems so arbitrary. But because of that, there were knock-on effects, and there were limits on how like Spielberg and George Lucas weren't able to work together as much as they wanted to openly because Spielberg was still part of the Directors Guild. And I guess one of the things was like, if you're producing a movie as somebody who's been kicked out of the guild, you can't work with somebody who's still in the guild. And it's ridiculous. But thank goodness he did it and upended a stupid convention, because there's no reason that a movie has to start with credits. There's no reason for that.
As I read, totally agree. As I read that one, my first thought was, gosh, I appreciate you, George Lucas. Thank you. Because I was trying to imagine what Star Wars would have been like or felt like if it had started that way.
Right.
Like, what if it did start with the credits and all of a sudden it's showing you Alec Baldwin and Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, like just throwing
Alec Baldwin.
Like, what if Alec Baldwin? What did I say? Alec Guinness. My bad. I'm tired tonight, I guess. This range.
I was like, I don't remember him in it.
I'm just gonna make up names now and see if I can catch you sleeping or not. Thank you, Alec Guinness. I got that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. All of our fans are like, "You idiot." No, but like completely would.
I don't like your show anymore.
I'm out, man. Do you think people left the theater when they saw that? That it didn't start with credits?
I bet. Can you? So imagine if every movie you ever went to in your whole life started with the credits and this one didn't. Like, it must have really thrown people off.
Had to, yeah.
But then you're probably on the edge of your seat the rest of the movie, because you're like, anything can happen. Like, they're not playing by the same rules.
Yeah, that just. I'm just glad that he made that choice. That was what I thought as I read that one. Like, that's cool.
Me too.
All right, man. I am gonna give you. We had a good conversation about that one, so I'm gonna give you 7.35 points.
Okay.
Which is what I gave you at the beginning.
Yep, I have come full circle.
Speaking of which, we have been talking about all these things for over an hour now. How about we enter our lightning round? The lightning has passed from you. He hasn't been striking in a while, but let's welcome it back and just do lightning round. And then at the end, we will tally up our points that we give each other. How's that?
Okay. How should we hammer out whatever we have left, or because I think I've got like 5 or 6 left.
Yeah, we can pause on a few of them and stuff, because there's some really interesting ones that we keep getting to. It's like, well, let's talk about that, but let's just enter the lightning round. Like, shoot, I'll shoot, you shoot, I'll shoot, you shoot. Whose turn is it?
Okay. All right, it's your turn. Go for it.
All right. Ray Park plays a guy named Darth Maul. You might have heard of him. His voice was actually done by, I'm going to say his name wrong, Peter Serafinowicz, who you actually will know because he played in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I thought you were going to say because he's Polish.
Well, no. I mean, maybe you know him because he's Polish, but you actually have seen him before in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's the one who's like, I can't believe I'm taking orders from a hamster.
Yes. Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's in a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
He's in a ton of stuff, and he's the one who actually does the voice for Darth Maul.
I love it. Very cool. I have a Darth Maul one for you. I'm going to give you 2020 points, 2020 for that one.
I like it.
Here, so apparently Benicio del Toro was originally going to play Maul. He was given the script, and he said that, yes, I'm in. I think this sounds amazing. But then they kept editing the script and cutting Darth Maul's dialogue, and he said, you know what? It's not for me. And he ended up backing out. It took him a little while, but eventually he made his way into the Star Wars movies, playing DJ in The Last Jedi. But he was on the very short list. And they doubled his lines. He was on the very short list and in the lead to play Darth Maul back in the day.
Could you? That would have been cool. I'm just like imagining. I mean, I love Ray Park as him; he's great too. But like,
sure, yeah.
Imagine Benicio del Toro. I mean, one of the reasons I think they wanted to go after Ray Park was because of his abilities. I think he was.
He's athletic. He's a martial artist. Yep, he can do cartwheels and stunts. Yep,
exactly. So he could do a ton of that fun stuff that would really be flashy and make for a great comeback of Star Wars. So that's a cool one. By the way, I'm going to share this one is completely not true. I will say that out of the front before you get too excited about it, and I'll explain why in a second. Apparently, there's a 6-hour cut of The Phantom Menace.
What?
It's not true. Apparently, Jake Lloyd said something like that in an interview not too long ago.
Oh
And
my gosh.
you know how sometimes the child's mind can remember certain details a little bit differently.
Yep.
So like it, and like he talked about like how it was way better and stuff. So I think no one's been able to confirm it. I think even like Pablo Hidalgo came out and said something. But anyway, would be cool though. How cool would that be?
Cool. I would sit through it. Probably once.
Any extended. Yeah. But I'd sit through like maybe any extended version of a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe more than once.
Yep.
As long as it was like just 3 hours. Anyway.
Yeah.
Or 4 hours. Speaking of which, I have never, this is a fun fact about me. I still, as much as I love Lord of the Rings, have not seen the extended versions.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's an indie movie theater not too far away from us that I think plays them, or used to before the pandemic, like once a year. And I always wanted to go and sit, and they play them back to back to back. And you spend the day there basically. And I'd like to do that at some point. I don't know if my back would want me to do it, but I'd like to do it.
No. Not now that I know what it's like to sit in a chair all day for work. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to do it anymore. Go ahead. Wait, points. Do I get points? I didn't give you points for your last one. I'm going to give you 5,000.
Okay. Wait, you just shared one, right?
Yep, your turn.
I'm all turned around. So you get 4,999 points for your last one. Okay. A New Hope is, so here's another convention that they broke, and this one was not deliberately done by George Lucas, but A New Hope is the reason that you have to leave the movie theater when the movie ends. It used to be that if you bought a ticket, you could stay and watch the movie again multiple times if you wanted to, which was great in lots of parts of the country where people did not have air conditioning at home yet. You could go sit in the theater on a summer Saturday afternoon and stay cool for a while, go out, keep stocking up on goobers and popcorn and Pepsi Cola, and you'd be okay. But everybody in the world wanted to see Star Wars. They wanted to sell more tickets. And so they said, hey, if you buy a ticket, you can only stay and watch it once, which at the time in most parts of the country was completely crazy. But now is the standard. You cannot stay in the movie theater now and just keep watching the movie. But once upon a time, you certainly could.
Blame the nerds, man. Of course it's us that would do that.
Yep. Nerds strike again.
I mean, exactly. The nerds strike back. I like that one. Did you know that I'm going to give you, let's see, 336 points.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Did you know that Dooku was originally supposed to be a woman?
No, I didn't know that.
But then they opted, they had designed it and everything, but then eventually, I don't know why, but they eventually opted for Christopher Lee instead to come in and play the part, and so they changed it back to a male. And then for the Clone Wars, they took the design of that female character and turned it into his apprentice, Asajj Ventress.
Oh, cool. Okay, I had no idea. I like Asajj. I'll give you 1,000,000 points for that one.
Oh wow, that's my first million.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
3 million.
I'm trying to keep it moving along, and my heart tells me to reward that one. So just in the spirit of us being in the lightning round, so here's one. NSYNC was invited to the set of Attack of the Clones. Have you heard this one?
And they were filmed in it, weren't they?
They were filmed. Unfortunately, Justin Timberlake and Lance Bass said, hey, we have better things to do, and decided not to attend. But the other three
has better things to do than to swing around a lightsaber. Sorry, that is a bad excuse.
I completely agree. But the other three, who are commonly referred to as the other three guys, because people can never remember their names, they filmed. Apparently, it was a battle scene where, they played Jedi and they were swinging around lightsabers and stuff like that, but ultimately ended up on the cutting room floor. I've never seen the footage myself. I don't know if it's available on like the Blu-rays or anything like that. But yeah, that was a sign of the times. They invited NSYNC to come to set and be part of Attack of the Clones.
I mean, so glad that didn't happen. I like the whole cameo thing, but that wouldn't have been too much. Like doing the cameos and the stormtroopers is like awesome, because then you just don't know that they're there.
That's kind of an Easter egg thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's more fun that way too. It's like they're there, but I'm not feeling like I'm being pulled out of the movie. Like that would have pulled me
Right.
out of the movie and honestly, it would have made it much worse 20 years later to be like, ew, NSYNC, interesting.
What would today's version be of that? If they're gonna make a Star Wars movie and invite like a cheesy band on there?
I don't know today's music to know, honestly. Like I'm so out of it.
Dude, my wife was reading me. So we have this big concert in Philly called Made in America. My wife was reading me the list of acts yesterday, in fact, and I was literally asking questions like, "Is that a person? What is that?" Like you're just saying words to me. I have no idea what you're talking about.
You're mashing together letters that to someone makes sense, but to me means nothing.
Right. Somebody sees that and they're willing to open up their wallet and buy a ticket. Meanwhile, I'm just like, okay, Google, help me out.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, I was. Am I giving you points? Yes, I will give you 700.
Great. That's more than NSYNC deserves. Whoa! Rein it in. You are out of control. All right, hit me with the fact here.
Did you know that Jediism is a real religion?
Is it now?
Mm-hmm. Led by a man named Daniel Jones, and it has about 500,000 followers.
500,000. Wow.
Yeah. I encourage you to go look it up because all I found was a bunch of people interviewing him and holding back laughter at his expense. It was kind of uncomfortable, actually.
Is he goofing around or is he dead serious?
He's dead serious.
Wow. Okay.
And it was like one of those where it's like, look, I wasn't judging. I thought like his premise was actually pretty good. Like he was talking about doing good in the world and stuff like that. But like also his hair was partially dyed blue and he had a lip piercing. So a lot of people probably think differently because of just those things. But I mean, he wrote a book and it was about like, it was like crossing over between what we talk about what it means to be a Jedi and some religious factors.
Okay. All right.
It was interesting to watch some of those videos. That's all I'll say.
All the power to him.
Yes, I couldn't believe it.
988 points. Okay, moving along. In the spirit,
1,000. Jeez.
Couldn't spare a couple extra points. All right, a real quick one. Apparently, the word Endor is Elvish for Middle Earth.
Huh. Okay.
So I guess they took the Tolkien word for Middle Earth and applied it to Endor, the forest moon of Endor. I'm going to pile. Cool. I'm going to pile a really quick one on top of that because it is related and say that never in in Return of the Jedi does anybody say Ewok. It wasn't until
you took the next one I was going to say.
Oh man, so you can give me negative points if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to give you -3.
Okay, fair.
Point.
I deserve
0.9. But for the one that I didn't know, I'm going to give you 500.
Okay, cool.
And 7.
Nice.
All right. You already did that one for me. You already did that one. Okay. How about this one? Did you know that multiple people usually audition for a role, right? They just want to get a good feel of who could play this role. So Burt Reynolds, Al Pacino, Christopher Walken, and Jack Nicholson all auditioned for the role for Han Solo.
I did not know most of those, but I actually have one more. Somebody else who's in the running who actually ended up being in something Star Wars, and that was Nick Nolte was considered for Han Solo, who later played Queel in the first season of The Mandalorian.
Interesting.
Those were all big names of the day.
Oh yeah,
interesting.
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte, Burt Reynolds was huge in the 70s, so big names.
The best part was that Saturday Night Live eventually did a skit where they were showing Burt Reynolds trying out for Darth Vader, and it was hilarious. They did Christopher Walken trying out for Han Solo, and it was hilarious. It was just like basically all the characters, and they were making fun of, like, somebody was trying out from it. It was hilarious. You should go and check it out.
I'm gonna Google that.
Definitely do that. Let's see. How about this one? This one's a funny one. This one is my own. I'm coming up with my own fun little fact.
Okay, so is this true?
This is a true fact.
Okay.
My kids, bless their heart, they don't like to say the word, at least Jane doesn't like to say the word gun.
Okay.
She feels like it's a bad word. I don't know. Like, guns can be scary to kids, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So guess what word she uses instead?
I don't know. Blaster?
Blasters.
Really?
And I'm just kind of proud of her every time she does.
That's kind of cool.
I know. I'm proud of her. I love it. That's my little fun fact. How about this one? Who was the first CGI character in Star Wars?
The very first one?
CGI.
Fully CGI. Maybe like was it in the Phantom Menace?
Yes.
Was it a clone in the Phantom Menace, like a clone trooper?
No. There weren't any clone troopers in the Phantom Menace.
Right. Was it Boss Nass?
It was Watto.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good
Watto.
one. That's
your very first CGI character.
Interesting. I've had a few bosses like Watto over the years.
All right, last one for you.
Okay.
This is my very last one. Did you know that the character of Mace Windu was created just so that they could get Samuel L. Jackson into the movies?
I did know that, and I appreciate that because it's so cool to hear. Like, you hear all these stories about Alec Guinness was like, the movie was horrible. I took 2% of the box office, but I thought it was dumb. So it's cool to hear from legit famous people who really wanted to be in Star Wars. I love that.
Oh yeah. And that's one of the things I love about him as a person. Just like, think of all the movies that he's done and everything that he's been in. He likes to go to the movies that people like and like to be in those. So like of course there's like all the old ones like Pulp Fiction stuff that he's well known for. Jurassic Park, like he's classic in Jurassic Park. But then he just is like, all right, I'm going to do Star Wars. I'm going to do the Marvel universe, and I'm going to be in these big franchises and be really good in them and be really cool. Like I like that he did that. So
I like that too.
Because a lot of other actors sometimes were like too big for them or something.
Yeah. And I always heard that he likes to play a creative role in things. Apparently the film Snakes on a Plane had some complicated title. And he came in and he was like, this is a movie about snakes on a plane. Just call it Snakes on a Plane. Which I love the clarity of it.
Yes. Yes.
Samuel.
Yes.
Let's go with Sam Jackson's idea. But here, let me hit you with a couple real quick ones. And then we'll wrap it up. How many
points do I get for all those?
8 million.
Whoa. Okay, cool.
Okay, so real quick. Porgs were created to cover up the puffins that lived on Skellig Michael, where they were recording, where they were filming Exteriors for The Last Jedi. So it was a practical thing. It was going to be really expensive and just complicated and time consuming to edit out the puffins. So they covered them up with the porgs.
They just created the porgs for that. Yeah. That's so cool.
Yep. Cindy Williams, who was a sitcom star who played Shirley on Laverne and Shirley and was also on Happy Days, was strongly considered for the role of Leia. She apparently auditioned and she said that the dialogue was impossible, which many actors in the original trilogy also said. Yoda's name.
Carrie Fisher said that too.
Carrie Fisher said it too. Yoda's name in the first script was Buffy. Go
Not
figure.
Bucky.
Not Bucky. In The Empire Strikes Back, some of the asteroids that you see floating around in space are actually potatoes that have been done up to look like asteroids. And there's some space. There's space junk. Rumored to be in the background are old sneakers and an empty used yogurt container. And I think that might be it. I think that was my list. I think I got through everything. Wow. Super productive.
That's pretty good. I knew almost all those other ones, and they were all really good ones. But because I knew them all, I'm going to give you 0.1 points.
Thank you for the 0.1. I appreciate that.
No, those are all really good ones. Now, we will tally this up and let everybody know who won last time. But if you recall, I gave you 700 billion points. So I think it is you that wins, and I'm the loser.
I mean, we should still add it up just to make sure.
Let's just make sure. I might fudge a number here or there, but
okay.
We'll find out. So I will happily do whatever it is that is my punishment at the end or at the beginning of next episode.
Yep. So just like on the Whose Line Is It Anyway TV show, where they have to read the credits at the end of the show, you're going to have to read the credits to The Force Awakens as fast as you can, which it has an 11-minute runtime, but we'll see how quickly you can get through. I'll give you 1 minute and see how far you can get.
You're going to fast forward it on me and just like make me read it? Oh, that's cruel.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
man.
like
you do not
just like the meme of
fans.
The guy who can read 1,000 pages a minute.
That was so weird. I don't think I've seen anything weirder in 2021.
Nope. But so I think that concludes our fun facts episode. If you have a fun fact that we missed that you think we need to know about, please do tweet us at Starburst Podcast. Send it to us via email, thestarburstpodcast@gmail.com. You can do it on Facebook. And you can also reach out to us through the BROAXIUM YouTube channel. And, if we get any particularly good ones, we'll read them on the air next time, because we know that we're just scraping the surface here and there's decades of fun stories to share. But I really enjoyed the ones you shared and got a kick out of this conversation. So thank you, dude.
Yeah, thank you for doing it. And this was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the ones you shared. It was surprising to me how many of them I did not know. I thought I would know more of the ones and we'd have a lot overlapping, but no, you came up with a lot that I didn't have.
You too. There's a bunch of these where I was just like, I've never ever heard that, and I just went looking this past week for odd fun facts. But good stuff. I feel educated and lots of good silly stuff to share in future conversations too. Everyone can just log that away and be like, okay, that was something. I enjoyed spending a little bit of time with the bros and learning about that. So we hope everyone enjoyed it, because we certainly did. So next time, Jan, we are going to get a little bit more serious. All right. That one was a really fun one. We're going to get a little bit more serious and talk about heroism. Heroism as a theme within Star Wars. And I'll kind of share real quick. I thought of this one specifically as what was I doing? I think I was watching something related to The Last Jedi, and it just kind of dawned on me that it is an expose of different versions of heroism, and how our heroes go through so many different trials, and in almost all of those situations fail, but they're kind of they all respond differently to those failures. So it just got me thinking. We know that the hero's journey was a big inspiration for George Lucas in creating Star Wars, and so I think it would be great to talk about heroism as a theme in Star Wars. So that is something to look forward to next time, listeners. I love it. I'm excited. And that's it. What else do we do? I think there's one more thing, right? And I think it's your turn. Oh, it is. You're right. I guess this is not because I lost. I just do this every time, right? Yes. Oh, okay. All right, just making sure. I was trying to find my way out of that, reading the script, but oh well. Nice try. It's a wrap.